Hey everybody, this is Elizabeth from Silvernest Homeschooling, mom of 4. I've been homeschooling for 12 years now, reluctant homeschooler who wanted to be a librarian at one point. Might explain why I have so many books in my house, even though my kids have moved past this time period of these kind of picture books. We still have kept quite a few of them, and this is our second shelf of picture books in this giant shelf unit that we are going through one shelf at a time. And so today I'm going to take you through them and hopefully not make you nauseous as I move the camera around. Let's see what we've got. So we're going to start with one of my childhood books, Pooh's Bedtime Book. And this is how I got introduced to Winnie the Pooh. And this has the short stories as well as some of the poems and the original artwork that came with the A.A. Milne from Ernest H. Shepard. I love this book so much, and I used to have memorized a few of the poems from it and really enjoyed just having the bite-sized pieces. Growing up, of course, introducing my kids to even more Pooh. And then we have Arthur's Honey Bear. This is a great I Can Read book. He loves his bear so much, and he thinks he needs to he's too old for it. And so it's the decision of what is he going to do with it. He's too old for it. These Arthur series are the Hobans in general. Lillian Hoban. I just love her. She's the same person that wrote Bedtime for Francis, or all of the different Francis books. And yeah, great early readers. And then, of course, The Cat in the Hat in French and in English, because, you know, our house has at least 2 kids that have been learning French. And when my sister found that book, she was like, oh, you need this one too. One of my husband's childhood book series, The Mountains Crack Up. And then on the back, they flip it around. So I don't know as much about it, but the kids and he enjoyed it. NIMBY, another one of his books about a cloud. We have read that one, but it was many, many years ago. My youngest is now turning 13. Yes, Eric Carle's Animals. We've done multiple units on Eric Carle and his collage work. And I really like the creativity of this one, but it's mostly poetry set from various people with Carl's artwork. And it's got some pretty funny ones in there. My kids obviously prefer funny poems over serious ones. All the World, gift to my kids from my in-laws. Just kind of takes the kids through a day outside with a bunch of people from all around the world. One Smart Cookie. This is a great series. They take you through these bite-sized lessons for the school years and beyond. It says they have different kinds of one for Christmas and stuff, but it's basically like using cookie as an analogy. Compromise means she wanted to make really big cookies, but he wanted to make teeny tiny cookies. So they thought about it together and decided to make medium-sized cookies. I find this to be a very great way to bring concepts that can be a little more difficult for kids to grasp and to give them a hands-on practical understanding of them. Plus the artwork is really pretty. 10 Little Fingers and 10 Little Toes. It's a baby book. Mem Fox, absolutely love her work. And the Hello Goodbye Window, which is also given to us by our Nana and Papa Sir, and it's a great story of how they have this great window at their house that they always say hello and goodbye to. It's preschool. Peter Spear's Rain. Peter Spear has no words in his books. They're just pictures and take you through a whole story with no words. A Little Excitement. I love Ted Rand. He was a friend of my in-laws, and so I'm always finding his work just because I liked his work and then discovered that. But this one's all about how the boy thinks that life is boring, and then all of a sudden they have more excitement than they really wanted. Definitely elementary school because of some of the topic. And then we have Step into Narnia. I had a daughter that really jumped deep into Narnia and found this book for her, which is kind of a exclamation of the different parts of it, using the books and the movie. So not necessary, but you know, when you still have it. I'm a Bunny. I love Richard Scarry. This book I had when I was a kid, got beat up, destroyed, and then when my children were born, somebody found it for us. It's beautiful. The artwork is beautiful. Preschool. And it's a board book version, so it survived my children. Yay. This was one of my husband's absolutely favorite books ever. It was given to him by his grandma. Need a House, Call Miss Mouse. She's a house designer, and she designs house for all different kinds of animals. Another one of my kid books, Kate Greenway's Family Treasury, is just full of poems, the alphabet, different things like that, all in her artwork style. More Eric Carle, 1, 2, 3, To the Zoo, preschool. I like these big giant books when I was a kid, and my kids also really like them. And so you sit and open them, and they have a bunch of different pages with just minor things to read underneath one. They were really good for the early readers because they were only focusing on one little tiny section at a time. But they were also fun for non-readers because the illustrations were so interesting. So yay, Busy Town. Love Richard Scarry. This was my poetry book when I was a little kid, and prayers. My dad read to us at night. He often read stories and 1 or 2 poems along with whatever book he was reading. And that was my own. Brown Bear, What Do You See? Again, Eric Carle. Highly recommended. And then my other love is Jan Brett. And so this is Comics 9 Lives. I actually got this after my kids were too old for Jan Brett, this particular book, but I was just in the kick to try to collect as much Jan Brett as possible. Another of my childhood books, Flutterby. I would skip this series. This is definitely because of my nostalgia. If you love this series, I understand why, but ultimately looking back on it, as far as like giving my kids the very best literature, this is probably not it. Some of the artwork is really pretty though. More Jan Brett on Noah's Ark. And we do like the Little Mr. books as well. They're always learning a lesson of some kind. Dinner at the Panda Palace, one of my children's absolute favorites for their dad to read to them, even to this day. My sister found this for me because I liked Kate Greenway when I was a kid. Little Miss Sunshine. Another one of those cookie bite-sized lesson books. Slightly different book. I think somebody gave one to each of my children, my girls. Thundercake. I love Patricia Polacco. Anything I can find by her. Highly recommend her stories and her learning from cultural points of view, as well as just, she always puts humor, but she often brings in some kind of lesson or outside the box thought. My book that I had when I was a kid, of the Story of Creation, found another copy of it somewhere, and I think I grabbed it because I like the artwork and it felt so familiar in it. I'm not sure it's the best book to own or explain, but it's what we had at the time. I do love this book, 3 Days on a River in a Red Canoe. I have actually done an entire unit study on this for my kids. Water, learning how to pack for a trip, and all how to read a map, all that kind of stuff, survival guide. And also the Summer Folk went a lot, same concept. Went with our unit on the Red Canoe. And Amelia Bedelia Goes Camping, part of that unit as well. Although I do love anything Amelia Bedelia, and she has shown up on this shelf before. My copy of Little Brownie Follows His Nose. This was a scratch and sniff book that I read over and over and over again. It's even missing the last pages. Definitely a fun preschool book. They do still make this book, or at least they did when my kids were little, because somebody bought me the updated version, which was so kind of them. Another evergreen for us is the Night Tree. They don't get a tree for their house. They decorate a tree in the woods for their animal friends. And we actually own some of the original artwork for this, thanks to family friends. Salty Takes Off. So Ted Rand was married to Gloria. She wrote a lot of the books, and so they did this series as well. And Barn Dance, illustrated by Ted Rand. This again, preschool. And Nancy Goes Fishing, another one from my kids' childhood that they beg their dad to read still. One from my childhood, Tico and the Golden Wings. He gets blessed with golden wings, and then it makes him so proud that no one wants to be his friend. And then he realizes all the people that need help, and so he ends up sharing his golden wings and becoming back normal. And his flock likes him better for it, but he also gets to help a bunch of people. So realizing that gifts that we're given aren't always just for us. And Just Like Daddy, I love Frank Ash. I love this artwork. Again, we've read this book so many times with my kids. and preschool, definitely preschool. Tico actually, I don't even know if you can get this one anymore, but Leo Lalani wrote a lot of classic kids books, and artwork and everything is just really, really cool. So if you see any Leo Lalani, you can check it out, see if it's good, if you guys like it too. Whose House Is This? Another one of my childhood books. Lift the Flap. Each place had a little tiny animal home. I think this is one of my inspiration for some of my own art when I looked back on this book. And Jan Brett, Honey Honey Lion. Family Lullaby, another gift for my kids when they were babies. All about the different family members that love baby. So to read to your baby. And the Bunny Book, another Richard Scarry find. This one's all about the different careers the bunny could have. And the Cabin Key, Gloria Rand and Ted Rand again. This one is also just beautiful artwork, beautiful everything. This is where you go into like when books are art. And more Jan Brett and Edward Lear, The Owl and the Pussycat. My kids didn't like this poem as much, but I do like the art. And more Ted Rand, Once When I Was Scared, about a boy being brave. And Salty Dog, the first one of the Gloria Rand, Ted Rand series. They're from Washington State too, so a lot of their books would have to do with here or with Alaska, which is really nice. I love Peter Spear. Again, there's no story written down. It all happens in their imagination about these two boys that get bored and end up taking everything from all over the house, their brothers, and they make an airplane and they actually fly. And then their mom's mad because they took all the stuff from their dad, and so they have to put all the pieces back. And this book inspired my son so much. It's probably one of his absolute top favorite books ever. So yeah, I hope that was interesting and helpful for you. If you're looking for some new classic books to read to your kids, something from earlier times probably, since again, my kids are now 13 through 19, and it's amazing how quickly we get new books and new things. But it's also amazing how many things stay current throughout time. And because these were old when I was a kid, and now they've made it from generation to generation. So hope you're having a great day, and we will see you on the next shelf.